Hi, I'm Tim Scheib, husband of one, father of five, realtor, and this is Behind the Sign. What is the question I get asked all the time? How's the market? Is there going to be a housing bubble? Is it going to burst? Are we going to see housing prices go down? We've seen a very quick increase in home prices over the last year, and it has to do with a lot of things. But one thing that I'm going to bring to your attention that you may not have thought about. About a year ago, we saw the relief packages. There was lots of money given out to people. When you are given something, you typically don't value it as much. That's the most simple way to put it. If your parents pay for you hear this all the time, if your parents pay for your college, it seems like that kid just doesn't care as much about his schooling. The ones you see failing college or dropping out of college are oftentimes given their schooling, either paid for or maybe some scholarships or whatever. The same goes for money. When you're given money, it loses its value. That is called inflation. And last year when all this money was given out, I talked to my wife and our team and our friends, and I said, we're going to see the value of that dollar go down. The more money you give to people, the less it's valued. I mean, if you print more money, it's just common sense. It's economics. It says if you make more of it, supply and demand, if you make more of it, it's not worth as much. And we are seeing the prices of stuff go up all over the board. And one of the things that people talk about in my industry is the fact that home prices have shot through the roof. They've gone up dramatically. And that gives a lot of sellers, you're happy. As a seller, you're like, yes, the price of my house is worth more. It's gone up. My house is worth more. It's worth more, it's worth more, it's worth more. The question I ask and I challenge you to think about is the value more in comparison to everything else. So if you look at what's happening in our world today, I constantly hear people talk about the price of gas has gone up, oil has gone up, the price of lumber has gone up, the price of rental cars has gone up, the price of meat at the butcher, at the grocery store has gone up. Everything seems to have gone up. Well, so has houses. So if you got a house that's worth $300,000 and like last year and today it's worth $330,000, what is that, a 10% increase, something like that? Well, if you look at the price of lumber, it's gone up. If you look at the price of food at the grocery store, if you look at the price of just about everything, it has gone up. Houses have just gone up at the same rate as those other things. Right now I think we're at a record level of inflation. Things have just increased in price, so your home has gone up too. I don't want to discourage you and say that that's, your money's not worth as much, so don't be so excited, because that's not at all what I'm saying. Where that comes into play and the relevance to that. We talk about, on social media, I hear people consistently say that the housing bubble's going to burst, blah, 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 blah. The housing bubble's going to burst, it's going to burst, it's going to burst. It's just like it was in 2007. I've said this before. If you watch my content, you've heard it. This is not the same market as it was in 2007, 8, and 9. It just is not. Back then we had a ton of land available for building. We had a ton of homes listed on the market. Our inventory was high. We had lenders giving out terrible loans, the no doc loans and no statement loans. All of that came together to make this housing market crash back in 2007, 8, and 9. That was that housing bubble. Today, we have extremely low inventory. We have good loans being given out. We have good interest rates. Back in 2007, 2008, 9, they had good interest rate on ARM loans. What does that mean? It means interest rate's at 5% here, and it's at 3.5% if you do an ARM. That means in 3 years from now, you have to refinance your home. Well, when you go to refinance your home 3 years from now, all of a sudden your rate's you can't afford that payment anymore, so those houses are going back to the bank. So in addition to the no doc loans, we had those ARM loans were a lot less than a 30-year fixed note. Today, the 30-year fixed is very, very strong. We don't have the mortgage problems that we had back then. We learned from that. Our inventory is down, like dramatically down. So people aren't going to get stuck with houses. Will the inventory creep back up? Absolutely. But we are down so much, it's going to take a while. In my opinion, it's going to take a long while, 2 to 3 years to just catch up with our inventory. What does it mean when you have demand for something that's not there. It means that the prices are going to continue to go up. Now, we have seen a slowdown in the last 3 weeks. Whenever you see a slowdown, everybody panics. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, the world's going to end. But the truth of the matter is, it does every year, mid-July. Mid-July till mid-September, we see it slow down. Main reasons, families are on vacation. They're exhausted from the previous 4 months because it's usually March, April, May, and June that are crazy busy in real estate. Those buyers get buyer fatigue. They slow down. You have kids wanting to get back into, or not wanting, kids definitely not wanting, kids having to get back into school. If you write an offer July 15th, you're probably not going to close prior to school starting, and nobody wants to close on a new house in a new school district right when school starts. That's just difficult. If you have to, they still move. But we're not choosing those moves. So the buyers have slowed down in mid-July. They slow down dramatically. I think earlier I did a podcast, one of my first ones was talking about the seasonal changes of the market, and I said it slows down mid-July and it picks back up mid-September. My prediction is it's going to slow down a little bit more right now because we have such low inventory. So not only is it the natural slowdown period, we don't have inventory. So it's going to be slower than it was, say, last year. Then mid-September, there's a number of factors that I see coming into play. Mid-September, okay, first off, you have your natural increase in business. People get back to school, they're back on their schedule, everything's back into play. Now it's time to make a move, mid-September. Those buyers are going to be there, those sellers are going to be there. You have the buyers that were exhausted. I currently have 2 or 3 buyers that used to consistently watch the market, and we have written offers on 5 or 6 homes. We just couldn't get one locked in. It just didn't happen. Those buyers, they're not texting me on a weekly basis anymore because they're not watching. I'm watching, and I know there's still a buyer today. If I see a house or if I come across something that's not listed and I call them, absolutely they'll want to go see it. But they're not glued to Zillow anymore. They're not glued to the matrix that we send them the listing to MLS. They're not. It's called buyer fatigue. They're tired. Give them July and August. They're probably going to come back in if I don't find them a house before that. But those buyers are going to come back in mid-September. They're going to get their rest. They're going to catch their wind, and they're going to come back in September. I can almost promise you that. The other big factor that I see happening, people naturally want to move up. They want to move to a new home. They want to do something different in life. And those buyers and sellers that have been sitting on the sidelines for the last 3 years watching this market climb and climb and climb, eventually they're going to throw in the towel and say, all right, I'm ready to jump in. And I feel like this September, they're going to start seeing more inventory hit. So we're going to start creeping back up in inventory because, again, in July and August, or in August and July, the buyers have slowed down. So some of those listings will sit, and there'll be more listings that'll hit the market. I'm not talking this many. I'm talking just some. We're still going to be low on inventory. But those buyers are going to see more inventory and see opportunity and decide maybe we should start looking now. Interest rates are still great. We've had threats that interest rates are going to go up, and they talk about them going up within the year. If rates stay under 3% like they are right now or at 3%, they can't wait much longer because rates will go up. Even if it's 1%, it's going to make a difference. Any intelligent person is going to want to lock a rate at 3% rather than 4% because it makes a big difference on payment. Those buyers are going to come in. We got the buyers that had just had buyer fatigue. They got a couple months. They're going to come back in, and just a natural progression of people getting back in their schedule. We are going to see, this is my opinion, my prediction. I could be totally wrong, and you can call me out in 2 months, 3 months, and tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong. But my prediction is in mid-September, we're going to see another rush, and we're going to see that inventory that was here, which is very low, climbed up to here, get squashed really fast. And I think this fall is going to be an absolutely mind-blowing fall. I think we're just going to sell houses left and right. I think people are going to get locked into those great interest rates, and good things are going to happen. Now, beyond that, let's say that we do crush our inventory back down to levels that are just unheard of. Well, again, I'm going to go back to basic economics of supply and demand. If inventory is low, prices are going to continue to climb. I do think that the days of the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over list price, I think those might be gone. the values that we as agents and appraisers put on properties, I think they're going to stay strong. I think they're going to continue to climb a little bit more at normal rates, but those offers that are obnoxiously over list price probably won't continue. If we do crush our inventory in September and October, could we see that? We could. But typically, the buyer activity is a lot hotter in the spring. So if we hit the spring with that low inventory, again, next year in 2022, yeah, we could see those high offers again. But my guess is we're going to have just a great fall. We're going to end 2021 amazing. The real estate market's going to do well. A lot depends on what rates do over the winter. I don't think, this in 2020, the year was just absolutely bonkers. I mean, with the pandemic, with everything that went on, everything, including an election year, and it was chaos. Everything was chaos in 2020. 2021, if we can avoid the chaos, then we should see gradual increases. If chaos ensues again, if we get shut down again, I can't predict anything. Getting shut down, I'm not going to put my word on anything if we get shut down. So basically what I'm saying is, if we get shut down again for some Delta variant or some crazy thing, everything I just said, that's my variable. Like, that will change all of my predictions. But at the end of the day, I think we're safe in real estate. I think we got supply and demand. If you just think about that, we're in good shape. And it's going to take a long time for us to get that supply up to match that demand. And once we do, it's not going to be a drastic drop. It's going to stay steady. Might continue to go up at just regular levels. And if we hit back to a regular market, that's okay. Everybody's doing well at that point. I think that, we're still going to see that 3% in our area. It's about a 3% on a normal market, 3% increases. I can live with that. So with interest rates where they are, inventory where it is, we are in good shape. Hope that helps clear some things up.